So one thing I noticed with the car, I finally got to take it properly driving now that it works again. I noticed that the clutch, it tends to bite really late. So right now I'm fully pressed in, and when I was driving, it would bite around here, and then right there is fully depressed. So even like right here, I feel the pressure right when I press on it, which I guess might be good, but according to the internet, that's not a good sign. It means either the clutch is worn because it has a high bite point, or it means you have some other issue. Now, I looked online, and I know, where's the clutch pedal? There you go. I know up here is where the adjustment rod is and the clutch positioner. One of the issues I noticed, and I can't really tell if it's visible here, there's a hole, the grommet that presses on the clutch positioner, clutch safety switch is out. So I want to put that in to see how that changes the idle of the car, because I didn't notice it was a little funny. But then when we come over here and I look at the master cylinder, so that's the master cylinder there. Now you can't really tell where the fill line is, or like how filled it is. Like I couldn't, I guess you can kind of see it there. But you can kind of see this line is this top one, and the liquid line is all the way up there. So there's like no room. It's actually much too, oh, you can see the bubble moving. It's too filled, I think, and that's why the bite is so high. I also went over here to the slave down there, and the internet says you should be able to give it a good squeeze. You should be able to squeeze the little rubber part there, like hold the whole thing and squeeze it, and it should move a little bit. And if it doesn't move, then you've moved, the internet says you've moved the position rod, the clutch rod, too far into the master. So I don't think it's the case that the rod is too far, and I think it's the case that it's just there's no fluid in there. If this is the thing, if this is the fluid reservoir, if the piston rod is here, this is from the clutch pedal. When this pushes in, some of the fluid flows up to here until the rod reaches here, and then it fully engages. This would be where the actual clutch plate is. Some of the fluid flows up, and then the rod moves all the way in. It pushes, some fluid goes up to here until the rod passes the reservoir, and then it continues to push, and this is when it actually engages the clutch plate and disengages the transmission. So there needs to be some amount of volume up here. That way the liquid has some place to go. Now, if there's no volume, if this is the top, no liquid can go in. So now as soon as I start to touch the pedal, which is what I'm noticing, that means the clutch is engaging. So before I adjust the position of this, I'm going to take some of this fluid out to get it to the correct max line. Max, I can write. And then I'll check the clutch again and see how it plays. And so again, it's not like it's super high. Like I guess the level is about there. That's kind of actually quite high, but it's above this line here. So since it's above this line, I'm going to drain it till it's kind of in between and then see how it plays. So since it's just a little bit I'm taking out, what I'm doing is I have this little hose here, and then I'm just going to put my thumb on the end of it like so. I can then pull this out, come over here, release, and it drops in. So I'm just going to do that a couple times until I think the level's back where it should be. Okay, so that's how much I took out. Decent amount, I think. And now you can see the actual level on this thing is actually below the mark. So yeah, it was way too high to begin with. Okay, so I cleaned it up, just some a paper towel with some soapy water on it. I didn't make sure that I didn't get anything inside of here. Then this is tightened back on nice and good. Paper towel is in there to absorb the brake fluid, so I can throw it away. So now let's see if the bite moved on this. It doesn't feel like it moved too much. Maybe a little bit. I don't think I need to bleed it because it's been pretty sensitive. The bite's way up there. Okay, so here we are underneath. Here's the clutch pedal, and as you can see, that guy is not making any contact with that little switch there. So I need to find something to go in that hole on the clutch pedal
that will press against the piece of plastic. Shouldn't be too bad. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the car for a ride without putting the piece in, and then see how the car acts at idle, at first gear, second gear, coasting, clutch in, clutch out, and then put the piece in and see how it acts after that. When I idle in neutral, no clutch. Initially when I started up, cold start, 1000 RPM. Idle neutral after driving it around a little bit, it idled 900. In first gear, when I idle with no clutch, 500. When I push the clutch in, 800. And now just now I said, oh, let me check it. Like, this engine light's because the engine's not on, but I put it in, and lo and behold, it says P0704 clutch switch input circuit. So I most definitely think it's just, there's no input on that switch, so the car is confused. So when I put I will look it up just to be sure. But I think when I put that tape or whatever on, this will go away. Okay, so what the engineer told me is that switch, oops, that one, is the active cruise control and idle. And then back there, that one, you see where the plunger is hitting it? Right there, that guy, is the safety switch. So the safety switch, if that was broken, then we would have another set of problems. The car probably wouldn't even start. But I think it's just this switch that is giving the issue. Yeah, I'll put the screw in there and clear the code, and then give it a drive around. So I found this screw here. It was in my little kit. I think it's this guy. So it's a 3/4 1024, and it came with a nut. I got this stuff from Harbor Freight, and this screw fits perfectly in the hole. So I just need to put this little bolt on there to tighten it up. Okay. So you can see there, I have that screw in. Now, if the nut ever backs off and the screw falls out, then I'll see it in the footwell, and I'll know that it's thingy. And then also, I'm not, it doesn't affect the starting of the car or the running, so should be fine. So after doing the change on the clutch pedal, so before I did the change, it was idling at 500 when I took my foot off the gas, but it stayed in first gear. And then when I would clutch with no clutch, and when I clutch in, 800. So the engine definitely wasn't doing the thing, and then I still got that sensor issue. When I tried it the next time, when in neutral, no clutch, 900, it's about the same. First gear, no clutch, 900. So the clutch went from 500 to 900 when I would coast, essentially. I would do engine braking, and then when I would take the clutch out, it would tick up just a small amount. And then same with second gear. When I would clutch, no clutch, idle, 800, clutch, idle, 900. So just a small tick up. So that little switch definitely did something. Now what I'm going to do is check try to adjust the bite point on the clutch. So I have the wheel turned all the way to the left, and then that's the slave right there. And I probably can get my hand in there to squeeze it and show, but it doesn't move at the moment. So my understanding is that I need to take the turnbuckle. You take the turnbuckle and thread it into the pedal. That'll move the master piston back or away from its clutch point. That way it'll shift the clutch point in a little bit. So I'll just do it maybe 2-3 rotations and see what happens. Okay, so I adjusted the turnbuckle thing finally. What's it called up there? I adjusted it. I took it back maybe a full rotation, maybe a rotation and a half. And then when I went back and checked the slave cylinder, it did give me just a little bit of play. So I think that was good enough. So it took me I think a 12 millimeter. Let me see what I have. A 12 millimeter to break the nut, and then a 10 millimeter to move the turnbuckle. So now I'm going to tighten back up the jam nut. I took a first spin. I felt the clutch did move in just a little bit, so I'm happy with that. I'll call this a success. I purchased these little grommets that go, they act as stoppers on the pedals. So currently I have that screw and nut on the clutch pedal. I'm going to go ahead and take that screw and nut out and replace it with this little stopper. So after about 2 months and some of driving, you can see how much that nut has backed off. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it out and put this guy in. So the stopper went in actually really easily, just kind of went right in
into place. And since I'm down here, I'm going to move the clutch again. I'm going to thread the rod more into the clutch pedal, just a little bit. Maybe like 2 full rotations or 1 rotation.